particularly when the sheep are down here. They get droved or driven down here to these fields through the towns sometimes. They actually still do that here, right through the middle of town sometimes. Well, through the middle of town, but through the town to the fields that they've always gone to go and feed. In any case, it wasn't what I was going on about. One way or another, and whether you like it or not, it seems you don't exist. Sorry to break that to you, but someone's got to. And that's the job of just this channel. What do I mean? Well, this person and personality that you think you have is looking for the position of scientific reductionism, right? So you are nothing more than a highly complex biochemical machine. So molecules creating complex machines which work in synchronicity with each other in order to create a biological mechanism or a bunch of mechanisms that calls itself alive, gives itself a name, or receives a name from somebody else. So all of these complex molecular machines work together to create this biology, a creature, a living, whatever that means. I have no idea what that means, organism. And that thing itself, or those things themselves, are made out of, created from atomic structures, which are also dead matter. Right the way down to whatever matter and energy is. All of it, all the way up, is dead matter. Dead atoms building chains that create dead chemicals, that build molecules that construct themselves in a favourable manner in order to create highly complex dead machines. And one of these machines, or even those sheep back there, out of this dead stuff, they've created a dead neurocomplex system in the skull, and this system of dead flesh, basically. And it is dead. It's living in the sense that it's, replenishing itself and blah 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 blah. But it's still dead matter. Nowhere along that chain has anyone been able to point out to me where life comes in, where living things come in. We have our definitions, but no one's satisfied. In any case, this lump of matter then in the skull then at some point starts believing that it has a personality and a name and all the rest of it. And as soon as that machinery doesn't work anymore, so at the moment of death, then all of your great personality and your great thoughts and all of your deeds and all of your wishes and dreams and gone. Back to being dead again. Back to being dead matter. In which case you don't exist. Your personality, everything you accumulated or built up inside yourself, is just not true. Now you might say, yeah, but Rob, that is being alive. That is what I am. It's my experience of being alive. And then, yeah, you die, but, you're still alive. Well, like I said, nowhere along that way is anyone be able to point out where this dead stuff that they call matter, chemicals, complex machinery, becomes alive. It seems to emerge from the dead matter. It's like saying to a clock that, a highly sophisticated clock, this clock saying, I've got dreams and I've got aspirations, and you're saying, you're a clock, mate. Yeah, but I've got all these plans that I want to do, and I want to work out this, and I want to be able to do that, and you're a clock. You're a clock. That's all you are. If I take your batteries out, you're done. All your dreams and aspirations are gone. Because all of those component parts might be highly complex and work beautifully with each other in order to create this illusion, this emergent property of a personality, but it's still an illusion. So you're an illusion as far as scientific reductionism is concerned. And if you go from the other end of the scale, which would be something like Vedantism, where there is nothing else here apart from the primordial substance, which is not a thing, which would be Brahman, and everything else emerges in that and takes on the appearance or the illusion of being something separate, but it isn't. Right? None of this is separate, kind of thing. So this isn't separate either. Then again, the body is just a emergent illusion in Brahman, and the personality doesn't exist, and the idea that you the personality doesn't exist, and the idea that you have any kind of ghost in the machine, like in the first example, there is no ghost in the machine. The clock doesn't have a ghost in the machine. It's just a clock. In the second example, the idea that you have a ghost in the machine that is you is also an illusion, because the ghost in the machine, the Atman, is mistaken itself for being separate, and it's just actually Brahman. So there aren't like little spirits in people. It's not like a Brahman universe, and then there are these little spirits that belong to Brahman, separate from it. But rather, they are already Brahman, they just don't know. And in that case, then, there is no you. One way or the other, folks. There is no you. You're an illusion, a construct. And you can say, yeah, well, okay, fine. So that doesn't affect my life, though, does it? I've still got to live my life and pay my bills and all the rest of it and do all my stuff. Yes, that's true. But that's then all you are. And it's interesting and worth thinking about, to give your life a bit of perspective. Plenty of people, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not even saying it's bad to have no ghost in the machine. Ricky Gervais would say, okay, so I die and then there's nothing else. Big deal. I'm here though, and I can do stuff here, and I can be nice to people, and I can make myself a nice and interesting life and be nice to dogs, if it was Ricky Gervais. And that's all true. But you're still going to die, and you're still going to go into oblivion, because you never really existed. And that's the sort of point, to get it into your head. Wow, I don't really exist, or what do I? Or you've got to change your definition of what exist means. Just like we have to think about what alive means. What the hell does that mean then, if everything is constructed from dead matter? This is the problem that we have with consciousness. How would something like consciousness arise from something dead like matter? Anyway, worth thinking about if you want to think about things, and interesting to try and take up that position of being that, and walk around in the world and think, wow, I'm not actually here. That's weird. That's quite strange. And if that's the case with me, what about all this stuff around me? The sheep that we've just seen, the trees, everything else is dead matter. But it all does stuff. Just machinery. Or all a dreamlike emergent illusion in the mind of a god.